She wasn't the villain in the fairy tale until love turned her into one. In The Ugly Stepsister, 2025, an insecure young woman will lie, steal, and sabotage her own sister just to win the heart of a man who barely knows she exists. But what happens when obsession replaces love and happily ever after becomes a nightmare? If you love dark twists on familiar stories, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a tale this chilling. This isn't your classic Cinderella retelling. It's a psychological descent into obsession, self-sabotage, and dangerous delusion. We meet Clara, the forgotten stepsister, whose entire existence has been defined by standing in the shadow of her beautiful, charming sibling Elena. The film paints Clara's world in muted tones, her every gesture radiating quiet desperation. She isn't evil in the cartoonish sense. She's painfully human, almost too human, and that's where the horror begins. Clara's insecurity festers like an untreated wound. When Prince Adrian enters the scene, handsome, courteous, and clearly smitten with Elena, Clara's fragile sense of worth finally shatters. She convinces herself that if she can just get Adrian to notice her, her life will finally matter. What follows is less of a love story and more of a downward spiral into manipulation, deceit, and self-erasure. She starts small, changing her hair, wearing Elena's perfume, lingering in rooms Adrian might pass through. But her tactics grow more invasive. We see her secretly reading Elena's diary to mimic her personality, intercepting letters, and even rehearsing conversations alone in her bedroom mirror. The film forces us to sit in these moments, letting the silence and her twitching expressions speak louder than dialogue. Director Marla Vance laces the cinematography with subtle dread. Shadows creep in the corners, mirrors distort Clara's face, and background noises become almost unbearable in tense scenes. It's as if the house itself is watching her unravel. By the midpoint, Clara crosses a moral event horizon. She engineers situations to humiliate Elena in public, manipulates Adrian into spending time with her, and spins false rumors to damage her sister's reputation. Each victory she wins feels hollow, pushing her deeper into paranoia. She starts imagining conspiracies, that Elena is sabotaging her, that Adrian secretly pities her, that the whole kingdom is laughing at her behind her back. The final act explodes into gothic tragedy. A masked ball becomes the stage for Clara's ultimate scheme, impersonating Elena to finally claim Adrian's affection. But in the chaos of the night, truth and lies collide in a horrifying climax that leaves no one unscarred. Without spoiling the exact ending here, let's just say the movie's final shot is pure nightmare fuel, lingering long after the credits roll. At its core, The Ugly Stepsister isn't about romance at all. It's about the danger of building your identity around someone else's validation. Clara's journey is both pathetic and terrifying, because while her actions are extreme, the seeds of her obsession are alarmingly relatable. The Ugly Stepsister isn't scary in the way a monster movie is scary. It's terrifying because it holds up a cracked mirror and dares us to look. It's a fairy tale turned autopsy, slicing open the soft, sentimental parts of the Cinderella myth to reveal the rot underneath. 1. Toxic femininity in a gilded cage. Clara's downfall isn't just fueled by jealousy. It's shaped by the suffocating expectations placed on women in her world. Beauty is currency. Marriage is security. And individuality is a luxury only the already privileged can afford. Clara knows she can't compete with Elena's natural charm, so she weaponizes what's left: manipulation, deception, and calculated self-sacrifice. This isn't empowerment. It's self-destruction disguised as ambition. The horror is that Clara believes this is the only path available to her. Love, possession, and the death of self. From the moment Clara sees Adrian, her goal stops being, "I want him to love me," and becomes, "I want him to need me." It's not romance, it's acquisition. Adrian isn't a person to her. He's a symbol of victory, proof that she can outshine Elena. The film shows how obsession can distort perception. Conversations take on hidden meanings, gestures become proof of imagined affection, and every rejection feels like a personal annihilation. It's chilling how quickly love turns into a campaign for total control. 3. Fairy tale nostalgia as a weapon. Director Marla Vance knows we come in expecting a Cinderella story. She uses this against us. The ball, the gowns, the prince, they're all familiar enough to lull us into comfort. But the deeper we go, the more these tropes feel like set pieces in a nightmare. The pumpkin carriage feels ominous. The glass slipper is almost sharp enough to cut, and the happily ever after starts to sound like a curse. By the end, the audience realizes they've been complicit, rooting for Clara to win, even as she destroys herself and everyone around her. 4. The horror of recognition. The scariest thing about the Ugly Stepsister isn't what Clara does, it's that we understand why. Who hasn't felt invisible in someone else's shadow? Who hasn't wanted to be seen, to be chosen, to be enough? The film forces us to confront how far we might go if those insecurities were pushed to the breaking point. The Ugly Stepsister doesn't just ask, "What would you do for love?" It whispers, "What would you destroy?" And the most unsettling answer is, maybe yourself. Clara's tragedy is that she wasn't born a villain. She made herself one, piece by piece, choice by choice. So here's the question. If you were in her shadow, would you have done any better?